Welcome to the Sheila Mac Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mac, and today we have a special guest. We have David Vine, also known as the autistic author, freelance writer, and international bestseller. He is here to help his audience and group build their authority through the power of the published word. All right. So if you're interested in writing a book, this is a great podcast to listen to today. All right. Welcome to the
Yeah.
show, David. And I'd love to hear more about all you do. Behind me is my best selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And we've had a lot of situations happen over the last couple years, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So I'd love to start off. Yeah, it's been crazy. I'd love to start off by asking you if you have a time in your business or personal life where you experienced a tough situation and how you got back on track.
Um, well, I'd love to say that the past 3 years has been a whole tough situation for me with COVID, my personal life, professional life.
Mhm.
You can when COVID first started to kick around, and I wouldn't exactly say it killed my business. No, it pivoted my business into from what it used to be into what it is now.
Mhm.
Back then I was literally teaching seniors how to use computers, and like the past 3 years, I've kind of like learned a lot about myself in terms of some of the adversities and resilience that I've had to come over. Like
Mhm.
I could probably make a whole list of them right now if I could.
Yeah.
And like I know last last year and again this year, we have a thing called right here in Australia called the rental crisis, if you've heard of it.
Mhm.
And got kicked out last year. Quickly had to find a new place, or because the owner wanted to sell. And
Wow.
now, right again, right now we're just about to get kicked out right again, or because the owner wants to move in. So now we've got another couple of months right now just to find a place.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Wow.
That's
Yeah.
how bad it is here with the rental crisis here because
The rental
um,
crisis.
every, it's kind of like supply and demand if you think about it. In other words, there's not enough rental properties around.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it is. And even with those rental properties that are around, the rents through the roof. So
Right.
it's probably paying way more than you should be. And these owners, they're kind of like using it to their advantages by putting the rent up during these tough times,
Exactly.
just to get that extra money out of people. And a lot of people just can't afford it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
health wise, not very good. Had a serious road accident last year. When I say road accident, I virtually took away my life for a good several months. Um, all I was doing was crossing the road, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
All
Yeah.
of a sudden, like I was walking across the road. I think I might have told you personally, Sheila,
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
but fell face forward, hit my face right on the curb of this curb of the road.
Mm.
Entire face was smashed in. It didn't look like anything like this. It looked like something out of a Michael Jackson's Thriller clip.
Wow.
And broke my wrist in two places.
Mm.
Done my back in. Wasn't broken though, but I do have a thing called a slip disc at the back,
Mm-hmm.
and haven't been walking right since. And I think it's all you know how it is when they say it's like a snowball effect. Once
Right.
one thing happens, something else happens, and then something else happens, and then it kind of like feels like everything's dragging out across you and everything. And
Yeah.
there was a time I did feel low.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we all have those moments, don't we?
Oh, we sure do.
And it's just a matter of what you do with those moments to actually help overcome those adversities and
Yes.
the resilience. I think I've been preaching resilience and adversities almost forever now because I wrote a couple of, I wouldn't exactly say, I've been in a number of, a co-author in a number of books,
Mm-hmm.
talking about resilience, talking about overcoming adversities, that type of stuff. Heck, I even wrote a book on one of them. I even wrote a book on one of them, so
Yes.
I'll probably show you. I'll share
Yes.
my author link at the end of this.
Great. Yes. Thank you.
And
Very good.
what I can say is everything throughout COVID, everything during my tough times, every the one little friend that kept me going the whole time was writing.
Mm-hmm.
It allowed me to become more vulnerable, allowed me to become more um, get my thoughts from out from here and into the paper or the computer.
Yes.
And you probably could call it my savior a little bit.
Yeah, it's very therapeutic and it's helpful. And especially I feel when you're when you have a mission or a passion in your heart to get a message out. So for those tuning in that may have a message or a story they want to share, it's such a gift to be able to do that for yourself, but also for those that it affects in a positive way. And right now, I really believe that each of us doing our books, our messages, however we can, to change the energetics of our time and to help each other through this time in community is going to give us the freedom and peace and contentment. And it's one person, one author at a time that makes a huge difference.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, Me and you
Excuse me.
have a friend in common. We do.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Very beautiful person. Big huge shout out to Aldwin, Altonay.
Yes. Aldwin. Yes.
She, she's been a good friend to me throughout this whole process. Everything, she's been she's been my ear.
Mm-hmm.
She's been a good support person.
She is. She's incredible. So, who we're talking about, we're going to give a shout out for Aldwin Altuni, and she is known as the Media Queen. And she helps people that have a message to get their message out more, to get advertisements, but like more like free public relations work so that you're able to be on different news channels, get interviews and really get some exposure and share your message with the world. And so I met her back in 2020. I think it was right during our pandemic. And I had my first book here to come out. That's a solo book. I have lots of other books I've written with people. And so this was kind of fun. And I got to connect with these incredible friends from across the globe, all the way over in Australia, from Beverly Hills, California. And so it's kind of an incredible thing. And in a way, this difficult time has brought us all closer as a world, a global community in that sense where we can support each other because we're all going through this very interesting shift right now. And so it's nice to be able to do that, but it was a big difference for businesses and authors, everybody. We had to course correct and change the way we do business for sure. Yes.
Exactly, because what you're doing, you're the best way to say it is to like if you want people to see you for who you are, you need to people need to be able to trust you. People be able to learn from you, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like rapport building.
Mm-hmm.
There's the people that you're talking to. Yeah, the best. You know what I'm trying to say, don't you? In other words, like the, it takes about 7 seconds to form an opinion on someone. Not
Mm,
even that sometimes.
yes. And you know what? People are so much more than 1 minute in time, 7 seconds. They're to look past our first impressions or thoughts and to have real conversations and connect with people on a heart and soul level and to really understand where each of us are coming from, we find that there's more similarities than differences, and that together, when we support each other in a positive way, it does shift that energetic, whether you believe in that energy stuff or not. It shifts what happens in our world. It's In fact, I went and got my nails done, nothing fancy, but I went in and that was the other day. And when I went in, we had a great conversation. There was a group of people there, and we were talking about how sometimes people can be very famous or very this and that, and they treat people bad, and other or very rich, whatever, and they treat everybody in a terrible way. And there's other people that can have the same amount of richness or fame or whatever you want to call it, and they treat people with compassion. And we all agreed that the only people we want to work with is those that are aligned, that have that heart, that have compassion for other people and treat everybody with kindness, because that is really going to be the most important. You wouldn't want to work with somebody that was unkind to others. That
So
would not be the goal. And so that was a big discussion we had at our spa, our little mini spa day. And so that it really makes a difference and it's important. And you could look in the world, you could listen to the news, and you could say, oh, there's bad people, there's terrible things happening. And you know what? There is good people, and there are good things still happening. And I love how Aldwin always shares her good news. And she has a good news that we share about almost every day. We share about our good news, because that's what we want to bring. What you move toward is what you get more of. And so that's very important. Now, David, I'd love to hear about your title, the autistic author, and how you got into writing, and all about you and that um,
how I
passion of
got into
yours
writing.
with writing. Yes.
Well, I, I never I never actually saw myself as a writer at first. But before I started doing all this right now, of course I was mentioning before I was teaching computers to seniors, and I was doing a lot of teachings and trainings around different technology, di-
Hmm.
different tech problems, different computer programs that are out there, everything. That was kind of like my work before. I still do some of it now, but not as much as I used to. Um, funny situation. I went to a business expo once,
Hmm.
and I saw this business store at this expo, and for some unknown reason, it was drawing me to it. It was a store about um, getting a bunch of people together
Hmm.
to collaborate in a book.
Yes.
Yeah, it's believe it or not, I signed up right on that spot, and I don't normally do that.
Mm.
I don't normally do that. That's the whole idea of it. You know what they say in other words, once you start putting yourself in a book and writing for something for a book, people see you differently,
Right.
and they start to see you as that person of influence in your industry.
Hmm.
And that book, I might have it right here somewhere.
Okay. Yes, so that while he's looking, that is something, and I've enjoyed some fun collaborative books too. Here you go. So did you find it? Okay. Business Warriors. That's great. Wow.
Taking care of working women in the 21st century.
Nice. That's wonderful. And that's important. That's a good topic.
12 people in that book.
Mhm.
My chapter is on empowering women to get over that fear and take it upon themselves to learn technology. To like, we all live in a man's world here, so
Mhm.
why do we all have to go to the men in our life to help solve our problems for us when we can do it ourselves?
Right. Yes, it's interesting, isn't it? It is an interesting topic, women in the work world and all that. I feel like I've always been an entrepreneur. I've owned many businesses, large, had up to 200 employees with my gift stores that were big department stores
Yeah,
uh, in California. And somehow people always complimented me on how I could be feminine and run it. It was interesting because I was raised with grandparents who were like my grandmother and all my elders that were women ran businesses. So for me, they never lost their feminine, and that was normal, that a woman can run a business and also not have to be a man, or masculine, um, which can come in many forms, or feminine and masculine. It is not just man woman, but to be able to show up like that, I think it's almost like a learned thing. um, and I was around those people that were my elders, that were women that were, gosh, they were in their 70s, 80s, 90s when I was a little girl, and they were my mentors. They were my people that guided me. And so I looked up to them for examples. And they had beautiful businesses and just lovely people that were in my life. So it is a conflict, because many times you have to have one or the other. And David, I think that one of the things you brought up earlier is you talked about when you went through some tough times over the last 3 years, that it's kind of a snowball effect.
it
And
does.
I think that when we live long enough in life, we have tough things that happen because we got fortunate enough to live long enough to go through, like right now we're going through historical crazy times. And we are not just our work. We are not just moms if we're women, or dads if you're, or whoever. We're more than just one thing. And there's
You
so
are a
many.
product of your own success.
Yes, and so how we show up in one area affects every other piece of our life. It's not just one piece. It's, you could have a great business, but if you're not aligned in the good energy of everything else in your life, or you're not doing, let's say you're not doing business in a beautiful way that's kind, then that's going to affect your physical health. It's going to affect your home life, your marriage if you're married, your relationships with your parents or your elders or your children. And
Yeah.
so when you get into an accident, or you get divorced, or you get married, or anything changes, whether it's the worldwide pandemic or something at home that happens, it
I
affects
made a, I
us.
made a joke about that the other day when I was talking to my wife.
Yes.
I said, well, we were just sitting there talking and all that, and all of a sudden I said, "What's COVID?"
Right.
He's
Yes.
like, it's surpassed us now.
That's right. That's right. And it does affect the even the relationships, without the talks and the time, the gift of time to kind of readjust and stay connected when you're going through any kind of an upset, of an accident, anything that happens, it can throw us off. And so that's important to be able to regroup. And then it's like that focus. Like Tony Robbins says, where focus goes, energy goes. So when we're focused on just the negative, then we tend to bring more negative into our life. And so it's not like you can say, well, that didn't happen, because it did. Tough situations happen. We have loss, we have sad things, and we have to say, yeah, we honor our emotions, but then we also focus on the positive ways to get to the next point in our life. And so that's a big thing. It really does. It affects every other piece. So, what now,
Yeah.
getting back to your book, what was that first book you did? Was it a group book? You signed up. What was the difference that you noticed? And what was maybe a part of what you wrote, or your favorite piece of the book, or advice from the book that you could share with the audience?
Advice from the book.
Yeah.
Well, well, like I was saying before, it's women's empowerment book. The best advice I could probably give out of it is like take life by take take the bull by its horns and ride that bull.
Yeah. Yes.
If you want to go somewhere or anywhere, life is a highway.
That's good. I like that. That's important. So
It's not,
that's
not just
uh-huh.
a song. It's
It's
still a it's still a direction to somewhere, isn't it?
mhm. Yes, because if we don't take action, if we don't attempt to do things because of fear, fear, that's a big F word right now. That is the bad word. To me, that is the bad F word, is fear, and how fear can interrupt or stop us from contribution, from making a difference, from, what if you're a working man or woman and you're going out but you're afraid to really step into your truth, then that could affect all the people you could help. It affects your family if you can't support them properly. It affects so many areas. So that is important to
I
just do it and
add something to
worry
that.
about it. Yeah. Hmm.
Um, yes, I am a co-author in many of these books, but I also the visionary author in a few as well by creating anthologies myself.
Hmm.
And the last one was a leadership book. What I'm working on now is Tech Guide for the Over 50s. The one after that, I was about to start on soon, an anthology based on what are you afraid of.
Mm, that is good. What are you afraid of?
I'll share the links to all of this stuff straight after this.
Hmm.
We're seeking 13 co-authors for that book.
Hmm.
The reason why 13 is the big 13, you know.
Yeah. Well, that'll be interesting. That sounds like a good book.
Yeah,
And
it's all about
uh-huh.
overcoming those fears. You know, tell us a story about, exactly tell us what you're afraid of, and
Wow. Yeah.
what you did to help overcome those fears.
It
And if
is.
you
Yeah.
and if you're still going through it, what are you doing to what are you doing for yourself to actually get out of that hole that you're in now?
Mhm. Mhm. Yes, that makes sense, because it is you versus you when you're in the way because of a fear. It's overcoming that fear. Procrastination is caused by fear. Why do we procrastinate? Fear.
Yeah,
It's terrible. And then when you actually go and do it, like I procrastinated and then I finally did my taxes and it's like, oh, Okay, but whatever it is, every year I do that. Uh, and and then it's like, oh, well, that didn't even take that long. That wasn't even that hard. But in my mind, I have to overcome that whole, oh, that's like a numbers, it's a lot of work, whatever. And so that's something that we all face in little ways. And the more you do it, go do the taxes or do that one thing you fear, the less it's like, oh, I faced the dragon and it wasn't that big of a deal. And then nothing, then it's like less of a fear, I
Yeah,
think, you know? But we still have what did we tell ourselves about what did I, gosh, I remember my family would always get very upset and stressed out during tax season. And I think that kind of stuck in my head. Taxes are hard, and it was, they had big businesses, so taxes were hard and it was complicated and whatever. And it was before we had the computer, which makes it super easy. So in my mind, I'm still hearing that story. So it's just changing. They're sometimes changing the name of something. Now, I like, for me, I if I say I'm going to clean my house, it's a chore. And I will find somebody to talk to on the phone. I will get distracted. I will do other things. But if I say I'm going to decorate and design and make it really pretty and beautiful and comfortable and homey, I could do that for hours. It's still cleaning, but it's I just gave it a different word and it changed my state and how I showed up to my house. If I can just make it pretty and make it beautiful, and the whole, it's like the different part of me shows up that loves to do that. And so
it's
it's
that
all,
mindset. There's
it
that
is
mindset.
mindset. And I thought, oh my gosh, how is that possible? I just switched a word, one word of what I called something, and I made it fun. And I made it like something I want to do all day. And I'm looking forward to the next time I can go, make it prettier or whatever. And so, so that's a big thing that I found that's really crazy because it is mindset. It is. Yes. So now I'd love to hear a little bit more, David, about how your book works, or how this type of a book works as far as when you're getting different authors together to write a chapter in a book. How does
Yeah.
that whole process go?
Well, having that right mindset thing to start off with.
Mhm.
Um, I'd like to say it's kind of like when they say someone's the visionary author for something, that means they have that vision that they want to bring to life. Like same for those other books that I've mentioned before.
Mhm.
That leadership book I was mentioning to you about. It's a product that I wanted to bring to life because what it is exactly, it's like, how do you define leadership?
Yep.
So I'm going to be creating a, a new book
Mhm.
around different aspects of leadership.
Yes.
So,
Nice.
and that's how I'm bringing that to life as well. With that tech guide one I was telling you about, it's kind of like a sequel to another book that I've already done, which is
Mhm.
also called Tech Guide as well, because I'm setting that up as a collection of tech guide books for the over 50s.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it all comes down to like the messaging behind it, and talking to the right people that you want to get the um the people involved in your book. It's
Mm.
called believing in yourself, so believing in yourself, so other people can actually believe in the product as well. So you could like
Okay. Yep.
building that relationship.
Mhm.
Like I'm not saying you would want to learn anything else. If you wanted to join in with our tech book, for an example, you would have to not exactly be good and fantastic at technology or anything.
Mhm.
What would you say? Like, you could probably talk about. What would you be your expertise in that area? In other words, it could be social media, it could be
Right.
mobile phones, anything techno.
Mhm.
And it was you can say it's a very fun process. Talking to people, collaborating with people, getting getting the right message out there to people, and
Yes.
it's just mind-boggling, like how some people actually do it. I've met people out there that just that do it well. It's very well. They can get 10 clients at the snap of a finger,
Right.
and you have some other people as well that might struggling getting one a week, or even one every 3 weeks or something.
Mhm. Mhm.
It all comes down to how well do you market it, how well do you sell it. So
Yes. That is really important. That's an important point, David, because whatever business uh you're in a marketing business. In a certain, that's what you got to do. And that means
believe in yourself, believe in the
if you're a
product.
stay-at-home mom or dad, I you got to market to your kids to get on the chore list, or to get things done, or get to school and
Yeah,
get up early. All that is, it's all about
it,
marketing to a certain extent, no matter what it is that you're doing. Because if you don't do that, you don't have clients. Or even at home, if you don't market it right to the family, it's not going to get done. So it does come down to marketing. That's so important. It
it
makes
is.
a difference. Yes.
All I can say is, once upon a time, it was all me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now I have a team.
That's great.
Now,
Yeah, that makes a
now
difference.
we're going forward in strides.
That is so good. And it takes time. How long did it take you to go from being the solarpreneur, the person that was the only one running everything in your book business, to actually being able to have that team? How long did that take?
A good while. I can tell
Yeah.
you that.
Yep.
No,
It
it's the magic word is trust.
Mm-hmm. Finding the
You
right
have to
people.
have that trust.
Yes, and finding the right people to help you is vital, because you could easily throw money away, throw money in the wind, and goodbye money, because if you don't get the right people, if you don't get people that are aligned, that you understand what needs to be done. So that goes back to the describing about what you need, and putting it into a way that people understand how to do the job. uh, I know through my training with my businesses and my teams that I want everybody to emulate my if my business, you're going to be me. When you're doing the teamwork, you're pretending like you're me. The quality of work you're going to produce, what you're going to show up like, is going to be like what I would do, because you're filling me doing that job. And I think the beauty of having a new business, for those that are just starting out, maybe you're starting a side gig and you're listening in, or a new business, or you want to get into writing books, or whatever it is,
Yeah,
there is a beauty in the struggle of those first couple of years. There is the learning curve. And then with everything changing as fast as it is, we have to relearn things anyway. But there's something about knowing the pieces of what needs to be done, at least to a certain level, so that when you hire somebody, you know what that level is, you know what it takes, you know how many hours it's going to take, you know how you want it done right, and you have a good understanding of all those little pieces of the machine of your business. And that, I feel like, I kind of like that piece. And it's good for even our brains. It's good for learning and building the muscles in our brains, the synapses in your brains even. And I love that part of a new business. I want to learn everything about it. So it's, but then at a certain point, I am happy to give it to the right team and the right people. because I don't want to do it forever. But I do like to know all those pieces.
Yeah. One thing I will add about that is that yes, I love doing the anthologies. It's a beautiful process with the people that
Yes.
you but that's just one service out of the whole bigger picture.
Mhm.
So remember, like I was saying to you before, I'm a freelance writer as well.
Mhm.
So anything that you could possibly see yourself not needing those, like you know what they say, like everyone needs a writer for something,
Yep. That's right.
whether it's content writing, blog writing, CV writing,
Mhm.
a ghostwriter, all that. I'll do that for you.
Yes. That's great. And that's a lot of work to have
Yeah.
the
The
writing
only thing
part.
I won't touch on is academic writing because I see that as a form of cheating.
Mhm. Yes, it is. And you could be really good at your business, whatever you do, but are you a writer? Are you a marketer? Are you whatever it is? And that's where the experts come in and can help you do so much more than just yourself. So when you get to the point where you're able to hire, it is so important to do some homework and get the right people that are aligned with what your goal is and your pricing and everything else to start out. They can really help you go from one level to the next in your business. So I think about years ago with starting my small, well, they were large gift stores. And I finally hired, after the first, I guess it was about 5 months, I hired a marketing person and they did the copyright and the marketing. And I hired somebody. I was very young and I had a budget and I had a very big expensive lease, 5,000 a month back when I was 23. So it's a lot of money even now, but back then it was like, whoa, how much? And I had to figure out how to market. I thought I was just selling gifts and beautiful things at the store. No, no, you got to market. And I had to learn that. And I wanted somebody to hire that would teach me the ropes. I wanted to know, what are you doing? Why are you doing it? I wanted to be able to do it myself and not just depend on the marketing person, but work with them when the big sales would come on and then do the in between. And that's the person that I hired was a person that did that. And I literally made, oh my gosh, like 50 times what I was making after
Okay.
paying her. And then guess what? I knew how to continue for the Christmas sales, holiday sales. I would hire her again in the group. But for the other times of the year, I would be able to do it myself. And that was priceless. So that was like kind of an education
Yeah.
along with just getting the marketing. And I think so when you're doing a collaborative book, if you're writing your first book and you're interested in maybe David's books, one of the books he's doing right now, or doing some type of a collaborative is a wonderful way to get started in writing. It's like just get in there and do it. That example you used earlier, just grab the bull by the horns and let's go. And that's what it's like. You don't have to do everything by yourself when you're doing a collaborative book. All you do is your chapter. And then whoever is putting it together is the one that does all those other pieces. You may pay for parts of those pieces, but it gets done for you. And that's way easier than starting off with your own book by yourself when you're starting. It's really good practice. I did a bunch of collaborative books with different people as I was learning and before I was ready to write my own book.
Yeah.
And so
How many are you
it
in?
was good. Yeah.
How many are you in?
I think it's about eight throughout my my history. My favorite ones is one I did with Steve Forbes, and I had a chapter in that book, and that kind of happened with some good friends that we were traveling, and we went to this wealth mastery seminar, and we got to meet Steve Forbes, and then we gathered together, and this book was created, and it was fun. I was traveling the world, and I was working, and and I, had a deadline. I had to get this chapter in, and it was exciting, and I got it done at the last minute. And they had one, actually, like, somebody dropped out and there was an opening, and I was like, I'll take it, and I can do it in the last minute. And I got it done, and it was so exciting and fun. And but they did all the pieces. I didn't have to do that. Like I said, I was traveling, I was working, speaking and traveling full time. So I didn't have time to do the pieces, and I didn't even know what those pieces were. But I loved my contribution chapter, and it was a blast. So,
Available.
yeah, good experience. Definitely. So, David, now how can people connect and learn more about your books and about your opportunities for the collaborative books
All I
in the
can say
future?
is people watch on through Facebook, because I have my own Facebook page and Facebook group. I've already shared one link with you already.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Okay. So, all right. So then this is a link here, and I will put that in the show notes for us. And let's see.
yeah,
Comments, private chat. I don't see the link.
you know,
No. Let's see here.
and in that email that I sent you.
Oh, on the email. Okay. All right. Okay, I see. All right. So I do have a link that I will share in the notes. And also, if you just look up David Vine on the Facebook, you'll see the Facebook groups that he has going on with writing. And so that'll be good. What is the name of your groups then? Is it under your name?
Story Time Academy.
Okay. That's great. So that will be wonderful. And it is a good way to just learn and get started. Get out there and do your first chapter in a book, in a collaborative book. And it really helps with your business, just getting preeminence, getting the word out there, sharing a message, and it saves a lot of time and work. My book that I wrote, I worked with a two different publishers, and and it took a year.
Yeah,
So, and that was with the professional publishers helping me with all the steps. And so there is a lot of work that goes into a book.
yeah.
A whole lot of work.
You can probably see along my
Yeah.
name here, uh, the autistic author.
Okay, David Vine, the autistic author, and
Yeah,
there you will find more about how to join if you're interested, and to read some of his great books as well. All
yeah.
right.
You can
Well,
probably see why I probably wrote that as well, because yes, I am autistic.
yes, yes. And how does the autistic part, how does that play into your writing and your world and all
Oh,
that?
that's why people that are autistic see the world differently.
Mm, hmm.
Makes us a better writer. Because
Yeah,
not everything's not everything is black and white.
I love that.
We see things through rose. No, we don't look through rose-colored glasses. No, we see the world around us, and that's how a lot of my thoughts come to me.
That's really beautiful. That is. And
You know
that's
what I say about autistic people? And it was like we don't. No, we don't want to be pigeonholed.
mhm.
No, we don't want to be. Um, some people see it as a disability, but really it's not. It's what you call neurodiverse,
Yes, neurodivergence, neurodiversity.
and
Yes.
there was there was a lot of autistic people who always hate when they see something in the internet, like a puzzle piece being taken out of a puzzle,
Mhm.
as if there's a part of that puzzle that's taken out. It was we, it was we've our mind's there. No, there's nothing taken out of our mind.
No, it's different, and in many ways much better and more precise for sure, in different ways. beautiful, creative, incredible, brilliant, genius ways that I guess the neurotypical, I guess the everyday people struggle with. Some of the pictures and the visions and the things that you can get to because our brains process differently if you're divergent or neurodivergence, I guess it is. And and it, and everybody, you know what, we all have a different, like, there's the autism spectrum. We may all be on a different piece of that in one way or another, and never know. But if you feel different, it's usually for a good, better reason. And it's all needed, like you said, the pieces of the puzzle. We all need to come together because everybody's contribution to the puzzle makes a beautiful picture. We need all the pieces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's how I feel
You know what
about
I'm
it.
trying to say though, no, it's we don't. No, it's our brains together. In other words, no, there's nothing taken out of us to signify that we have
Mm,
a piece that's missing.
yeah. Yeah. And there's other pieces that work incredibly better than the average bear. That's what I've found for sure. And so that's important too, to remember that and learn from that. And I think that there's a lot of things that when you're, I mean, I have 6 kids and some of them are on the spectrum. A couple, uh, I adopted and have 3 of my own, and adopted some more in with situations that happened, and I got to adopt. So with that, I learned a lot of I guess I wouldn't say coping, but different strategies in order to have success, in order to use the strengths that you have, um, as a really positive way to get through the other difficulties that come with that. So it's there's two sides to it, and when you get those together, it's a beautiful thing. But it does take work to get that all together for sure.
Okay.
And I learned a lot as a mom, um, through that whole process. It was a beautiful gift for me, definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool, David. And
That's in a nutshell.
yes, yes, I love it. All right. And so, all those listening in, again, you can look for David Vine, the autistic author, and he is on Facebook, and there's some incredible Facebook group help there for anyone that is looking. Maybe you're considering being an author, writing into a collaborative work as a group, to
Or
make it
just a person
easier.
that wants to share your story.
Yes, that sounds great. And also just to read some of his books that have already been published. All right. All right. Well, thank you again, David, for being a special guest on the show.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you very much.
yes,
And it's a
and
pleasure meeting you too.
it was a pleasure to have you as a guest. And thank you again for tuning in. For those tuning in, we'll be back after these messages. All right. Stay tuned. All right. Thank you, David.
Yeah.